Minutes read and approved, Mr. Bennett. All right. Okay, Mr. Christopher, I guess you're first.
All right. Well, we fixed several leaks this month. I think 7 in total.
Wow.
Yeah, just kind of been trying to keep an eye on what rough guess on gallons per minute, you know, just kind of, and roughly looking at them, I think we're conservatively guessing if those that leaked a month, we fixed almost 800,000 gallons a month worth of leaks.
Oh, wow.
So hopefully that'll make a big difference.
So how did you find it?
Some of them we found during meter reading, some of them just popped up in the road, just different things like that. 3 of them was actually behind the Sunset Inn motor inn.
Oh, on that bluff back there.
Yeah, so there was 3. We seen one, and as I got to looking, I found 2 more. And so they were, all 3 of them were main leaks. So we fixed them. Some of them was service lines we had to pull on the road or whatever, fix service lines and stuff like that. So, and we've had several out actually this last month for being in hospital or a couple on vacation, myself being one of them. So about 3 out of 4 weeks of the last month, we've had somebody out or more than one person out at one time. But so anyway, we've been getting a few things done. Actually got that hydrant at Big Rock in 120 approved. So hopefully in the next week or 2 we'll have it installed.
That's good.
And the first master meter we've got approved at Link Road. So
You're knocking stuff off my list, buddy.
getting them approved is sometimes the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
So anyway, so we got those.
So do you have the master meter here, or do you?
We got all the parts to do it with.
Good. Good. Maybe that will tell us the story too.
I hope so. Yeah. So that's we are blue and then paid for 4 more taps, which we already had installed because we put 6 in at once. But I think he's paid for all 6 of them now, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be 6 more.
It'll be 6 more. So
When's he gonna start that section?
he's already started it.
Yeah,
That's what I was fixing to say, I thought it was already
It's
started.
111 Robertson Hill, the other's 109, got it memorized. I had to deal with that so much.
So the whole building is 109, and then you got apartment.
Unit 1 through 6.
Okay. All right. Well, that's growth.
That's growth. We've got over 1,900 customers now.
That's good. All right, Christopher. What about the safety ladder on the county line tank? This may be you guys. The reason I've got that wrote down is I'm going to be a broke record till we get it fixed. So I don't want us to forget it.
Okay, on the calendar. Okay, on the calendar.
You got it on your calendar. Well, good. Well, good. I know that's something we want to make sure to get done before the warranty is out.
Yeah.
You got it on your calendar, buddy?
We did. I do. I have the inspection is on there.
Okay.
And we're still waiting, as far as that tank goes, we're still waiting on the final report from the inspector. I reached out to him on, I guess, Friday last week, and he said that they had a bunch of tanks finished all at once, so they're behind on reports. But once I get that, I'll send it to
I've had a lot of compliments on that tank.
Good. Good color?
Yeah, they like the color.
It looks good.
It does look good.
Yeah.
My wife's not happy about the color though. She says, just look like them blue shirts you wear. I don't have a problem with that. I thought it was pretty good.
The landowner around it was upset we didn't put the name back on it. He said that's his landmark to tell people turn it to.
Turn it to side. Well, you
Turn
tell,
the tank, it says North
you
Utility.
tell him if he's got $3,000, we'll put it on there. That. Okay. Oh, well, it'll be all right. Tell him to turn it to blue tank.
Turn it to blue tank.
Turn it to blue tank. Is that all you've got, Mr. Chris?
That's all I think that I think of right now.
All right. You have any questions for Christopher, sir?
No, sir.
You're being really quiet.
Yeah. Maybe later. Actually, we were talking about grant last time and all those master meters and how that was going to be paid for. Is that going to be talked about later?
I was going to say, I have that on my list here, flow meter grant.
Flow meter. That's going to be later.
We've
Is
got
that-
9,000 of it so far.
What?
We've got 9,000 of the money so far.
All right. That's what we talked about at the last meeting. So are we okay on that now?
I don't know. sent in everything before the
But you haven't-
fiscal year was ended, because the way I understood, all the bills, so I don't know if they're gonna pay it all or not.
They pay what
We
they
got
pay?
9,000 of it.
Okay.
How much we spend out?
I guess 48,000 or something, wasn't it?
Yes, I knew it was close to 50.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was thinking it was about 50, so we've got a long way to go.
Yes, we do.
Any, y'all know anything about that?
Have you spent the 50
Yeah, we spent it.
and have you turned all of it in?
Just the fit, now we got some the other day that I gotta look and make sure, it was some big meters. Did you get those?
6-inch meters.
So those were part of it too, so I'll have to send that too, but I haven't had time to do that.
Sure.
But I wanted to make sure I took the whole, everything that was paid till June, because to close their fiscal year. And I don't know if they'll pay, you know,
Yeah,
but I
but
sent it.
it's promising that they paid the 9,000 so far, and they haven't asked any questions about the
Okay, and I haven't heard from Miss Fay either.
yeah.
Yeah, so.
That answer your question? Hmm?
Yeah.
Okay.
Still working.
Was the 9,000 a specific bill that you sent in? Or is that why they just sent 9 or?
Yeah, it was the first section of it.
Okay.
You have to turn an invoice in, don't you, to get,
You have to turn in an invoice, you have to have GNC to sign the invoice where we ordered it from. You have to turn in the canceled checks where I paid it. So
I
I'm
had
waiting.
to sign something.
You did too. I mean, Eric has to
There's a lot,
sign, you
yeah.
have to sign, GNC has to sign, and then you have to send the canceled check.
Hmm.
So I have to wait until, you know, the check goes through. That's lots of times, a lot of it.
So, and I've only signed one of those. Well, no.
Well, the first one she
There were-
didn't get you to sign, did she?
I'm not sure.
The first one, the 9,000 one, you didn't have to sign, I
Oh,
don't think.
okay.
But
I
the
signed-
second one, she did, the second
Yeah, I
section.
signed like 3 more.
Mhm. Yeah.
All right, let's go on to our projects. Where do you want to start? Which one of you's gonna start?
Ricky gonna handle.
Ricky, you gonna start? See, I told you you need to be at the
I
table.
was too slow. She said Drew's gonna start.
All right. Well, y'all start where we need to start.
So on Thursday,
Mhm.
Mr. Gant and Miss Hyde and Mr. Page were here. We opened bids on RD projects. And that was uneventful from the standpoint of there was no problems with any bids. We did ask on Rory Hollow, because there was only one bid, we asked if the district can award based on receiving one bid, even though you've advertised and only one turned a bid in, if you could award a contract, and the answer was yes. We also asked Chris Parchman, who was the one bidder, he was sitting right here, do you want your bid opened on the chance that we don't award it to you, your number's out there for public record? And he said, go for it. So I think we checked with everybody before just doing that, and we opened his bid. That was the only thing that was a little bit
That you have not.
yeah.
Nor don't normally deal with.
Right. So when you add all three bids up, well, let me back up. Quinn Construction is low bidder on the plant and on the pump station. Quinn Construction Company is a water plant contractor, sewer plant contractor. That's their business. Like Parchman is a utility line contractor. All four of your bidders on the plant were plant contractors. We would have been comfortable with any of them because that's what they do, and we're familiar with them. When you add the three contracts up, and this is the important part, when you add the three contracts up, The total is $4.8 million. You have about 3.9 million, and I'm rounding off my numbers. The total is 4,814,000. But I'm gonna say 4.8 million is the total of the three bids. You have 3.9 million available with what RD has awarded you, plus the TDEC ARPA money through the county. Adds up
And
to
that includes some grant money too, right?
a little bit, well, the TDEC money is grant money.
Well, yeah, I got you. I meant through rural development.
375.
It's not,
375,000.
it's not a lot.
Yeah.
We're about $900,000 short. And what I have done in the three letters, the only one that is a little bit different in wording is the Rory Hollow letter. But I have said on contracts A and B, we recommend award to Quinn Construction Company in the amount of their bid, subject to rural development approving that bid, the bid for A and the bid for B. With contract C, and that's Rory Hollow, and this is what I want you to listen to, the way I worded it, was an additional consideration is you can award this to Parchman Construction, subject to rural development, giving you favorable financial consideration for the shortfall. And that's sort of subjective. You know, if they just give you a loan, you might say, that's not favorable. Eric may say, so you'd have to decide what we want. We want all grant, or we want 50% grant. We don't know what rural development's gonna do. But I said, if you award, my recommendation was award it to Parchman Construction, subject to rural development, giving you acceptable financial, or an acceptable loan, and acceptable terms, and rural development approving Parchman's bid. So that one's worded a little bit different. Does that make sense, what I said?
Mm-hmm.
And if rural development says anything that the board doesn't like on that extra money, then we may be writing a new letter saying, well, let's build 50% of this, because we've got enough money to build part of it. Or we can come back and write a new letter and say, we just reject the contract C bid and figure out something new to do. Now that may not turn out to be a winner. Parchman may just say, I'm not bidding again. I don't want to have my numbers out.
I was gonna say, you didn't have a lot of interest in it.
It was really difficult to get interest, yeah. And Chris said to all of us, he said, that's the hardest job. The rock,
The rock,
yeah.
crossing the
The
creek.
road, the terrain, and the rock. So, I don't know, maybe
What's your opinion?
my opinion on that price, or,
Yeah. You thought I'll be honest with you, I thought it would be higher than that, to be honest with you.
well, Jenny, it's like, I'm not, I shouldn't be the estimator. Jenny said, it's 3 million is what I was thinking. And we were thinking 1.7.
I don't like your opinion now.
You know, well,
Your opinion's out the
I
window.
know. Yeah, Ricky, will you go build it for 1.7?
Yeah, Ricky, we'll let you go do it. Get your shovel out, go to work.
Oh my goodness. So,
What will rural development say? I assume you called Vance,
He called Vance with us listening.
and
he said he will try to get us as much grant money as he can, but he was gonna have to call his director, a man named Chris Hampton, and find out how much money's left. They have pool money that's available until August the 4th, is that right, Jenny?
Yes.
And he doesn't know how much is left of that. And if we don't like what they offer, he might suggest, well, let's just see what we get next year and be able to do better.
okay.
So let me say this too. The way this conversation Thursday afternoon started was, okay, can we just award the plant? And you can do that. If you want to award the plant, subject to RD's approval, and sit on the other two, you can do that. And take that up, you know, when the August board meeting rolls around, we'll be 30 days into this.
So will we know by the August board meeting what rural development's gonna do?
We should because of that pool money.
I would think so, yes.
The way I understood it is that by voting on this and this resolution, the way you word it, that we do want to vote on it and approve it so that they have something official, hard to look at to get that grant money. Right?
If we wanted, you're right.
Okay.
So me saying wait
Mhm.
might say, well, we're not,
They don't really want it.
we're not gonna chase the pool money anyway.
Right.
But this is showing
If we have sincere, immediate interest, right? And they may consider it
yes.
strong.
Well, what about Queen Construction? Are y'all good with them?
If I could just go hand pick, I would hand pick Quinn to come do this. They're good, they're just good people.
Is there a timeline on their work?
There's a time frame on the construction contract. And
That says,
I don't remember what
you're supposed to know these things.
I should.
Oh, that's true, he's younger than you.
Do we have the spectrum here?
He said he was ready to go.
Okay. I just wonder, is there a stipulation in there that says if he doesn't get it done on time, is there a penalty for it?
There is.
Okay.
There is. And he has to hold his bid good for 60 days.
That's contract
Well,
It's contract
A is the plant.
Hey, is
Yeah.
Oh,
A is the
Oh,
plan.
you're right,
Yeah.
you're right.
Drew.
I was thinking about Rory Hotland.
True. I said, pick the young one, didn't I? The mayor could have done that good, Drew. Don't turn red.
No. I'll give him a pretty good sized book there.
He knows right where it's at. Look at him, he's just trying right there.
You say that. I'm gonna keep flipping here.
Is it in the agreement?
You know the penalty's there, though.
Yes, there is a penalty.
240 days to substantial, 270 days to final.
They've got a long time then.
8 months.
Yeah. Okay.
And then $600 per day after is the liquidated damage.
All right. So what do we need to do? We need to vote to approve these tonight?
That's what I think, based on our discussion, just to, if we look at it to do the plant as a priority, we're gonna do that. To get them started immediately,
Mm-hmm.
or as soon as they can. And then the other two, or the Rory Hollow, submit it as we wrote it, so that they take our request seriously. Maybe we can get that grant money.
Okay.
And then by August, I guess we could talk about what if we don't. And I saw some figures on the back there, additional
Yes.
cost per month,
Yeah,
if we don't get any.
that's saying that it's all wrong,
Mhm.
and I used 3.5% interest.
Yeah.
Vance was, he said in the 3-something
Mhm.
percent range, so I just used 3.5.
But that would be next month's discussion if we don't get any grant money.
I think so.
Probably. Okay. So that's what I think.
Maybe,
So did
maybe,
he quote you a 3% something interest rate?
we were sitting around with him talking, I just had my phone on speaker, we were just talking to him, and he said, that was something Jenny said, what's the interest rate?
3%, and it'll change in September if it goes up.
So,
Now,
Now,
he didn't
the
tell me that, but I know that.
The original loan amount we have won't
One and a
change.
half.
1.5. It won't
It's
change.
locked.
Okay, okay. It's locked, okay. That's very important.
Yes.
That's
I'm
very
surprised it's 3. I figured it was more.
important. Well, I kind of thought it might be too.
and I used 3.5 in my little,
Do I trust your figures?
yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
I got my auditor sitting right behind you.
Oh, you know what?
He'll clean you up here in a minute. Ricky, John Poole will fix you.
Uh-huh. And he might have an opinion about
John Poole
the
has an
district
opinion.
borrows another $900,000.
He might.
The one thing I also want to say is my recommendation is to not ask for any additional money as a contingency. We're going to go into this with no contingency except self-funded. And the reason for that is rural development makes you spend the loan money first.
That's right. That's right.
And then you spend the grant money at the end. And if we said we want 5% contingency on for 4.8 million, that'd be $240,000 of grant money that we, if we had no need for it,
We'd have to
you'd give it back.
You can send it back to them.
Because they are not in the habit now. It used to be you could, hey, can I do this? Can I do this? I don't want to give it back. And they worked with you. But now they say, you got what you wanted, we'll take that back. And they'll de-obligate it.
Be glad to, I imagine.
So I'm saying, I said like, I just kind of threw a number out of close to 5% for each job, saying hold that as a reserve and be prepared if there is some kind of change that comes up.
So do we need to vote on these separately?
Yes.
Probably. I have a question about that. It's hard for me to wrap my head around that contingency, no contingency thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna be cheaper than that, right? Or could they come in after they finish and say, hey, we gave you a bargain, so we're gonna spend at least that much?
If we were to find some way that saves the contractor, hey, you don't have, I'm gonna throw out something just stupid.
Mm-hmm.
If we said, you don't have to put those walkways across the basins.
Mm-hmm.
Christopher will just stretch 2x12s and walk out there. We could get money back. Or if Rory Hollow, we change pipe materials
Mm-hmm.
and there's a savings there. And that's, we may explore doing some things a little bit cheaper on Rory Hollow without sacrificing or jeopardizing the integrity of the line. And that could in turn become a contingency. I'd still like to ask for the whole $2.5 million. And if we got some money back on Rory Hollow, because there may be something on it that comes back and bites us.
Right. Okay.
So we can change the specifications without not having any problem?
we can after we've got our contractor. When we're all bidding on the same thing, you don't want to say that, hey, he can do something different than the guy that's bidding on. Now, everybody bidding is supposed to see the same thing.
Absolutely.
But as long as we don't feel like we're hurting the integrity of the job.
We had mentioned one time that we might change the pipe that we use
Mhm.
and still get the same. I think Eli brought it up
He
one
did.
time. And, you know, and I'm in favor of that as long as we don't think it'll be a bunch of leaks.
That may, well, we don't want a bunch of leaks.
No, we don't. But I want to make sure it will hold up in that ground down
Yeah,
there.
that, what Eli mentioned, I think we maybe were talking about ductile and changing to a stronger wall PVC. And, so
Would that save money?
we'll ask the contractor to show us his ductile quote versus a PVC quote and see how it checks out.
Now I'm going to ask your opinion again. So what is your opinion?
I wish we would have had two bids.
Oh, I'm just,
I'm putting
you did.
him on the spot.
I wish we would have had two bids, because I do not know I honestly don't know that if 2.55 million is a good number. It is the.
You think it's high?
Do I think it's high? I wanted it to be 1.5.
I understand that.
But I also thought, I thought the water plant was gonna be 2.1, and
It
so
come
I
in.
missed it.
I got
So,
you. I got you.
And here's
The reason I
other way.
ask is I value your opinion, and
I appreciate that.
I think that if you think that the other pipe will be cheaper and we get the same.
But you don't do that until after you've awarded.
Okay, I'll back up.
We will, I think you've got one number, one guy that wants to build it.
Mhm.
And if we can get the money and it's satisfactory to the board on, you know, even if it's all loaned, if you think.
And you
This is the best we can do.
and y'all met with him and y'all are both satisfied with him.
I am. Now I hear, you know, sitting around here this evening, I guess I heard some stories. But he is bondable, he's licensed, and he's worked for y'all, and we're familiar with him, so he can do the work.
Okay,
And he's the only one that wants it.
okay. Okay, Mr. Camp. Guess we need to move forward.
okay, project A.
Project
Make a
A.
motion, we accept it as written.
Okay, this is the water treatment plant improvements
Yes.
and Queen Construction, $1.444 million.
Mhm.
You make a motion? I'll second that motion.
All right, I'm in favor.
I'm in favor.
All right.
All right.
So that would be subject to rural development's approval, Jim.
Yeah, I guess you need to put that in the motion, if that's okay with you.
Yes, as written.
As written.
Yes.
All right. We'll go to contract B.
Okay, I did have a question on this.
Okay.
We had some discussion last Thursday on the pump station, the priority, and maybe converting this money into the Roy Hollow project. So should we change the wording to match project C that is contingent on rural development, or should we,
I think that's a good idea, Mr. Camp.
so then we can sit on these two until we hear from rural development, kind of just get a better feel for it?
And what he's saying is if we chose to reject B, we could
We could
apply
use-
that money.
We could
towards
use
rural.
that money over on the Royale.
Yes, and Christopher can live, hey, it's not ideal, but you're making it, your tank was full.
Well, I don't want to speak for Christopher, but I think Project A is his main goal right now.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's a good, and I'm stepping in while y'all are voting, I apologize, but that's a good. that's a
We're
good-
discussing before we vote.
That's a good idea on the,
All right, then I'll make a motion, we accept, as written, except for make the wording the same as project C.
It's been talking contract thing.
Yes.
maybe as,
B, the same as C.
yep.
All right. I'll second that.
I'm in favor.
I'm in favor. That's 246,000 for project B. Okay, now we'll move on to C. You gonna make your same motion?
I'll make the same motion.
This is for the Roy Hall line project contract C, $2.551 million, contingent on rural development.
Yes.
All right,
Suitable financing and approval of their bid.
I'll second his motion.
I'm
You in favor? I'm in favor. All right, Jenny. Guys, y'all done a lot of work. We appreciate what you've done. I know it hadn't been easy, and you've had a lot of things in your way.
It's our job, sorry it took.
Well, I understand that. I understand that, and I know I bugged you to death, but anyway, that's okay. We did what we had to do, and I think we're moving forward. I know y'all are tired of hearing me saying I want to shovel in the dirt somewhere, and I've heard the mayor say that too. We need to get a shovel in the ground somewhere. All right, I guess we're moving that direction.
Very good.
Good. All right. Let me see what we've got left. We talked about the county line tank. That's on track. Okay. And we got the fire hydrant. Meter policy. You hadn't had any chance to go over that.
I've talked to one person, they, wasn't on utility about how they do theirs, they just price it as it comes up. They don't have a set price, so it's whenever.
You mean they changed the price?
They have, they just bid it, well, actually, their 3/4 1-inch taps are set price, for our 2 inches.
So anything above that,
They just do
Yeah.
it as the price of the parts. And
Okay.
They don't have a set labor that they use, because it depends on how many people.
so we don't need to go any further with that now. You can take that off.
Yeah, the labor rate.
Okay. All right. Okay, before I bring John Poole up here, I'm gonna switch to your discussion on the local government investment, or do we need to wait for
He's
him?
gonna tell us about it.
John Poole.
Would you mind if I set up at the table?
That's what I'm pointing
I'm not a member of this board, but if it's okay, I would like to sit up here. Pass out. These are copies of the audit, just for the minutes. My name is John Poole. I'm a CPA, hired to perform the state required annual audit, which Jenny and I have looked at. You'll look at the numbers.
This is the county maker. This is Mr. Beach.
Pleasure to meet you. If you don't mind, let me have you turn to page 10. And as you guys are turning to page 10, just want to remind this board, when we talk about state required annual audit, what we're doing as auditors, we're really trying to do three things. One, make sure we provide the state the financial information that they require in their fiduciary oversight capacity. Jenny does a great job with that, so honestly, as auditors, we don't have to spend a lot of time doing that. Two, looking to make sure that the monies that the district should be receiving, 95+% of that comes from monthly billings. And obviously, as auditors, we're testing that to make sure we're billing correctly and collecting those monies. Obviously, you're going to have some folks that are slow in paying, and Jenny does a good job in kind of monitoring that. And once monies are kind of received here, making sure that we're handling those monies in accordance with our policy and state guidelines. There were no grants, so we didn't have to worry about grant monies this year, but as auditors, we of course would do that. And then where we spend most of our time, which I think is most important to customers of the district and to this board, is just looking to make sure that where the money was being spent, first of all, being spent on district business, simple statement, but very important to us as auditors and to this board. We didn't see anything that gave us any concern related to that, and we of course would have report to that, to the board. And so that's the kind of what we do as auditors. And if you don't mind, I'm going to spend just a couple minutes talking about numbers. Page 10 is probably the first page that the state looks at when it receives these audits. This board is very aware there's a state law that requires all utility districts to make $1 profit at least every other year. In other words, you can lose money, you got to make money the next year. And the district, looking at this year ended in May. The third number from the bottom, the line that says net change in net position, I wish you would just say profit loss. You can see it's a great number. It's $183,000 surplus. Terrific. This board is very aware, just from the previous discussion, that we need some surpluses because we've got some expensive things coming our way. But certainly from a state requirement, we've met that threshold. No concerns there. Let me have you turn over the previous page just to make sure, because I think we're going to be talking about this here in a minute. The next page is just what we call balance sheet. It's the things we own, things we owe. Just want to kind of point out that top line. At the end of May, there was approximately $1.1 million in checking accounts and savings accounts there, once again, to be used for those purposes as previously mentioned. I know you're probably going to borrow all those, which is great, and sometimes I think if we use all those loan monies, we can still prepay some of those real development loans. But anyways, that just shows you the amount of liquid funds we had at the end of May. Because you hinted that we wanted to talk about the local investment pool, let me have you flip back over to that page 10. Just want to point out a number, $1.1 million in the bank, and then one of the bottom numbers, you'll see in the line that says interest income, $9,000. And that's, we're going to talk in a minute about there's some opportunities for us to maybe improve that number. But having 1.1 million, you know, we'd like to get more interest than 9,000. And then when it comes time to talk about those opportunities, we will. But I don't know if it's appropriate to ask if there are any questions or anything that we want to.
The floor is yours, buddy.
Well, I just like you said, if the board's ready for me to stop talking about the audit, I will. I'm not rushing, but yeah, you know, that's where we're at. This board is aware, once again, on that page 9, still $3.5 million in debt.
With the audit number?
Yes.
So yeah, I'll just stop there and once again, my name and phone number is on page 1 of this audit. We're going to submit this audit to the state here in about 2 weeks after the board.
So I guess my question to you would be like it always is, are we heading in the right direction as a board? Utility district.
As far as the numbers and those kind of things, well, obviously the surplus of 183, yes. You know, this was a lot better. Last year, this year we sold a lot more water than we did last year. Last year's profitability was 120, and this year's 180. Once again, those sound like big numbers, and they are, but you guys are going to need big numbers for some of these upcoming projects. Even borrowing the money, you got to repay that money.
Well, we were counting on making a payment by this time anyway.
Yes.
And we haven't been making it.
Right.
You know, these are projects. that-
Yes. Yeah, right. I completely understand it, and I'm aware of that.
Right.
I've never, sometimes I just want to be very careful when we say, oh, we had a surplus of, you know, 183,000. Someone may think, oh, wow, well, they're obviously taking advantage of customers. No, not across the board, want to say that, no. What they are doing is trying for the long term, lowest cost to the customer over the long term, making sure we're not, you know, minimizing things like interest payments, and all that stuff that doesn't directly affect you, but drives the price of water, what you have to charge up. I do believe this board is trying to minimize. So to answer that question, yes.
Okay,
All right.
now you're free to go off.
Okay, so like you said, one of the things, just as Jeannie and I, and once again, I'm gonna give Jeannie credit for this, she was just talking about, boy, it'd be nice to earn more interest. And once again, just because I'm old, Jeannie's very young, I'm old, been around for a while, just wanted to remind her that the state actually has a savings account called the Local Government Investment Pool. And if you were to go you can go to the website, and it'll be, right now it's paying almost 5%.
Oh, wow.
And it is a savings account. It's an account literally where 24 hours you can request your funds, You know, and once again, I'm gonna look at the county mayor, they may or may not use that local investment pool. Many of the bigger places that have huge amounts of excess funds use it. Certainly the North Stewart Utility District, being a government entity, is eligible to use that. And so once again, what we are, I think what I'm going to speak for Jeannie here, is requesting the board to do, would need your permission to ever open any kind of bank account. Jeannie and I were just talking about what kind of monies of the 1.1 we might transfer there to make sure she's comfortable in first using it, and even trying to maximize the amount of monies in the higher interest accounts without her worrying about what's in the operating account. So kind of take it slow, but still you're putting $200,000 there. Well, that's 10 grand, right? And that's for doing the work. Now, once again, I'd say this, that is a very market rate. Just as quickly as it can go up, it would go down. If it went down, we'd move our money back. So once again, just
And so we could move it in with the edge. It's still available to you.
that's right. It's literally savings account. And I just want to emphasize 100%, this is not an investment of any type. This is a savings account. It is insured by the state of Tennessee. There is absolutely zero loss of principal to the utility district. All monies have to have at least 105, whether it's collateral or insurance. These funds certainly with the state do. So there is no loss of principal.
So today it's drawn 5%?
Today's 4.91, they give.
I kind of like the fact.
And we're drawing 3 at F&M, wasn't it?
Yeah, they went through, 3.28.
The thing that's got me, and I think me and Jenny talked about this Thursday, was that we get near 5% out of what we got in the bank, and then pay 3.5% for what we get from rural development. That's a pretty good deal.
So we don't want to pay anything off.
And that's why I'm saying,
Yeah.
it's our advantage, actually our advantage. For years, we've been talking just the opposite conversation, pay down, because we were getting 0.001 and still having to pay rural development. Well, rural development's rate is steady. Now, it's to our advantage to make the minimum payments. It's our financial interest to do that. Now, once again, I understand that someone said, I understand it's better economically, but I like paying down debt. We all get that. But once again, this money's not going anywhere. It'll be there. And with what you guys got going on there, hanging on to as much liquid funds as you can for any potential overruns or additional projects, once again, sounds like positive from my standpoint.
Jenny,
I agree.
are you worried?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
No, I've got my checkings account more than it's ever been.
I was
Because
gonna
I
say.
have more interest on that other money.
If you're worried, then I'm worried.
Because I can move it. Why move it when you don't need it?
And that's the
Drawing
point.
interest.
That's right, because if we said how much money should we have in the general checking account, all 6 of us would give different answers. But the only answer to me that matters is what's Jeannie's comfortable with, because I don't want her at home at night worrying, I need money to money. We don't want to come anywhere near that, but we do want to take advantage of situations that are to our favor.
Mr. Gant?
You need to make a motion.
Yeah, that's to approve, yes, provide Jeannie opportunity to open an account at the local government investment pool.
Okay, at her discretion.
Yeah, once again, sure.
Okay, that's my motion.
I'll second that. You in favor?
I'm in favor.
All right. Jenny, I want you to do what you're comfortable with. If you become uncomfortable, then I'm really uncomfortable. All right, I want to ask Mr. John Holt one more thing. As we're talking about these projects, there's one number in this book that really concerns me, and that's that depreciation.
I'm thinking right to it.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm on it. Yeah.
Okay, so that depreciation number, that's a number that's not going away. So what is that going to do when we do the projects? That's going to change.
Absolutely. So give me a round number of projects that we're gonna think we will have done in 5 years. You're saying, it's $5 billion or it's.
How many million?
That 5 was a good number.
$5 million is a good number.
So 5 years, and let's say that the engineer comes back and says, we think these projects are gonna last 40 years, we have to replace them. $5 million a project for 40 years, you're gonna add $125,000 to depreciation. Now, truth of the matter is, some of these in y'all's case, though, some things do actually finally depreciate, come off. But you guys are pretty early in that, so I don't see a whole lot coming off. So you literally would probably be adding the full 125. $5 million worth of projects, you'd be adding 125.
So this 183 would go down to 125.
That's right. Now let me ask the question, are there any revenue enhancements? In other words, are we gaining any customers from these projects?
No.
Okay. Are we reducing our repair and maintenance expense with these projects?
We hope.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So once again, while it may be a 125 directly to the bottom line, there could be some things that, once again, these guys.
So when will we see that number on there?
Not till it's up and running.
Okay.
You know, the first project is done and it's, $1 million and you say, oh, that has been completed and it's operational, we would start at the next audit year.
That's the number that always concerns me.
It's
Every time we turn a tap,
Yeah.
and I know that number can change and it can hurt us.
It's $270,000 on 1.4 revenues that's a big chunk.
That is a big chunk.
But you guys are doing fine the way, yeah.
Okay, that answers my question. You have anything else for Mr. Poole?
No, sir, thank you.
I do apologize for being late. Thank you for the time. And like I said, we'll just let this sit for a week or so before we send it on to the state.
Okay, we'll leave that to you as long as you do it.
We will make sure it gets done. Pleasure to meet you.
You too, sir.
Yes, I can tomorrow. Okay, y'all have a nice meeting.
Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Anything else that you be brought forward?
I do.
Okay.
Thursday, we talked again about another project to improve the water quality, and that was that chlorine injection site near the Big A tank. I'd like to give direction to them to take a hard look at that so we can.
We're gonna say about it. Me and Drew talked about this a few weeks ago. So what did you find out about that?
But we talked about it, and we were just kind of scoping it out, thinking, it's probably going to be a little building with a chlorine tank and then an injection pump.
You feed bleach, don't you?
It's 12.5%.
So we would put a similar little setup.
So do you think that would improve the readings he's getting out at the end?
I do, because I think, I'm speaking maybe what I think I've heard you say is when the water's so hot,
Yes.
then you can't keep pouring in it, and that's when you end up with your disinfection byproduct problems, or
Well, we get-
THMs.
Every year at this time, and even right now, we're doing it, the tanks warm up so much, it just cooks the chlorine off of them.
That's right.
And we just have to overflow them until we get legal levels.
What's gonna also help is when we get the water plant improvements done, we're working on the front end of the water plant, and we're gonna have a flock basin and a settling basin, and I hope that we create a flock and we cause some of these particles that have organics in them to settle out,
Yeah.
and then your filters won't have to deal with it, or the system gone through.
So do you think that if you did that it wouldn't be a need for the pumping station?
For the chlorine booster, the chlorine booster will not hurt. If it was to be, I guess the best thing would be if you didn't need it, don't put it in. But the second best thing is if you did have it in and it turned out you didn't need it, that's great. But it's a good little belt and suspenders kind of thing to have, especially in the summer months.
I don't think it's gonna, if the less organics we have in the water, obviously there's less chlorine demand, but the heat's still gonna be the same. It's still gonna be cooking on it. So I think we're gonna always I mean, every year I've been out here, we've had to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And I think it would be.
Especially in July, August.
Yeah, we could key it to the microcom computer so that whenever either the pump kicks on or the pump kicks off, either way, and the water is going in or out, we can chlorinate it. I would say going in. We can chlorinate it going in, and then whenever it kicks off and it's feed back out, the pump will just shut off, and then that chlorinated water will come out. And that'll keep us, I'm not saying we'll never have to overflow the tank again, but that'll keep us from doing it as much, and maybe not at all. Okay, so I think it's very much a needed thing there at the Big A tank.
Which one of your sites has the most issues testing?
Well, you talk about THM's, Indian Mound site,
So
which feeds out of the county line tank.
what, something we talked about when we were discussing this, we were talking about, if you didn't want to have to put in a little injection pump, there's sometimes where you can feed it in after a pumping station. And it kind of sucks the chlorine out.
Okay.
Like
Of
for
the
lack
pressure,
of-
it's a negative pressure thing,
Yeah.
because you got so much water being pumped that way. And we're thinking, well, we're putting this pumping station here.
It could be pumping up that way.
Yeah, and all this water goes to that tank, the county line tank, so it's not essential. You wouldn't get any benefit on it the other side of the county, but if your issue's over here. and you
Well,
need
see,
them out-
and the biggest problem we have is with that, we can turn the county line tank over pretty quick because it's so small.
Yeah.
But the Big A tank, it just takes days and days and days to turn it over. And that kid throws us also into running overtime into the night just to run it long enough and to keep enough water to clear water last till the next morning.
You need to put some bricks in it like what we did with the toilets back then.
Yeah, I've said for years, I wish I could fill about 2/3 of it up with concrete.
Can we do both? What, can we do both, pump station and the tank, and reap benefits? I mean, how much
If you
money
want
are
to
you
pay
talking
for
about?
it.
Roundabout, I mean, how much are you talking?
I don't know.
See, at the tank, it would be significantly more because you have to have a building to contain the drums of chlorine, bleach, and
$50,000, 75,
probably you're in the right area code there, I would think.
and then just adding it to the pump right here would be a lot
Less.
cheaper.
Yeah.
Can that be done with the current design?
That's what we just worked and had it as a change order.
Mhm.
That's what Neil always said to me. It needed to be out here.
Well, the problem with that though is your Big A tank's still gonna go dead.
Yeah.
And this chlorine out here is not gonna go back to the Big A tank, it's only gonna go that way.
Mhm.
So then I'm back in the same problem, dumping the Big A tank to get chlorine. Because I mean, regardless, I gotta have at least 0.2 parts,
Yeah.
for everybody. So and that's not to say that if we put it in the tank, there's not gonna have any at the county line, but the county line's so much littler.
Right.
I can flip it over a lot quicker if I get that same issue.
Well, at this point, I'd like to get a real hard look at it and get moving, because we just have to do everything we can to provide safe water.
Yeah,
And
sure.
that is always a problem, and I know it's money, but
Yeah.
I think we need to get a hard number, or as close as you can,
I agree.
project that we can say we need to do.
Can we maybe report back next month without being contracted to design anything, but
Right.
say this is a concept
Yes.
and a budget to go
Would
with.
be something like we talked about out here with like a prefab building or something would be a lot cheaper than maybe so initially this was a block building. And I think we changed it to prefab or something to make it cheaper, so something like that. It would take a very big building, I would think, to hold maybe a couple barrels and a pump. And I don't know if they need a chlorine meter in there, like a CL17 or something to constantly read the chlorine.
An analyzer.
Yeah. I know that's about $5,000
You
by itself.
may need that
Yeah,
if you're feeding it.
but it would be good to know.
They're not gonna want you to just do it, climb the tank and do a test.
Come up with a concept idea in this
Yeah.
area.
Yeah, it's just a concept right there.
Just one concept.
Don't start buying it, what you think.
How much savings it'll be in the long run for all that, how much safer it'll make it cost.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Anything else?
Budget.
Okay, Mr. Gant, Jenny emailed you a copy of the budget. I have, of course, always my concern in the budget is always the depreciation. And, you know, other than that, all of it looked good to me.
Yeah, I saw it. Good.
So can we have a motion in a second?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, I'll second it.
Are you in favor?
I'm in favor also.
I'm in favor. Ms. Jenny, you did a good job on this. You know, I have to look at budgets all the time, and I thought it was well prepared.
Thank you. I did it real quick.
Well, I don't know how much time you put on it, but you did a good job.
I didn't get it till, I didn't get his audit, his scanner didn't work until Monday. Well, there's no way I could Monday. I started working on it Thursday night, Friday.
I know you did it. All right, Ms. Jenny,
Meeting adjourned.
meeting adjourned.
So did you call Penn?